Please, for the Zoom people. That's all you got to do. Say hello a couple times and I'll ask them. Thank you. What do you say? Oh, okay. So we doing it. Gotcha. How are you doing? Good. I'm pretty darn good. People to hear the sound check. Oh, we have two people. I just asked them for if they heard a sound check. And
Kevin, I can hear you. I cannot hear Chris.
I can hear Kevin, but barely Chris. I'm not sure what that means.
I cannot hear Chris.
Now turn it on. You'll talk again. Okay. Is it turned on? Is it turned on, Chris? Okay.
No, Chris is garbled.
Is Paul on Zoom?
Yes.
Paul, can you hear me? Give Kevin a thumbs up or something.
Now I can. You're great now.
We're just trying to figure out if the Zoom folks can hear from the
now I can, mic. Yes.
All right. All right. I think we're good then. Let's see. Get this off mute. All right. This is coming through, right? Y'all hear me? Okay. Welcome everybody. Thanks for spending your evening with us tonight at the Woodturners Club. I'll get started. I tried to really, I know I say this before, but I'm down to a page and a half now. I'm trying to get my notes down and quicker. So the agenda tonight will be welcome to all of our members and guests. So any new faces? I see a couple of new faces here that I haven't seen before, but you've been here before. Okay. Don't see any other faces that I don't recognize from other meetings. There's one back there. Are you new to the club? Okay, it's good to see you. Tonight's agenda will be announcements and the safety minute, and then we'll have a presentation which Jim Garner is going to present the woven texturing method for bowls, vases, and platters, as you can see up here. Looking forward to that. Following Jim's presentation, we'll do a short refreshment break and have some fellowship for a while, and then we'll return to do the challenge table, which on the challenge table this month was to turn a miniature police baton or a tire thumper. And it looks like we got several over there. And then we'll follow and end up with the show and tell of different items that people have brought in and what they've turned this last month, and get them to share with us on what they've done. Okay, so getting to our announcements. First, we had another successful club picnic this year. Look at all those folks that we had there. We had good weather, we had good food, and we had lots of tall tales that were shared. Fun too. Good eats. Yeah. The club opted out of setting up a tent for the July 1st Fridays event this last weekend. It fell on the July 4th, and from what I've heard from a couple of people was the attendance was almost non-existent. So I don't think that was a bad idea, and saved Ed a lot of hassle and time too. So, however, the club did have a tent at the Bingham Wagner Antique and Crafts Fair just this past weekend in Independence. So I want to thank Ed and Kevin and Jerry. Thank you all for organizing and setting up and having the sales for the day, breaking down and coming back. I don't think sales were terrific, but there was a lot of traffic and it was a nice day. So it wasn't a bad time spent. And I'm sure that we got to converse with a lot of people about wood turning, which is always good. wanted everybody to know that there is a new batch of baseball bat cutoffs. I don't know if I've got them into the shop, but Kevin, are they out in your truck? Yeah, we'll get them in there. So there's a couple more buckets that Mike Erickson has been nice enough to go out and pick up for us. So feel free to use them. That's what they're there for. Our membership is, I said still, but I think we're at a total of 110 paid members right now. I'd like to be at 150, but we'll get there. This month's challenge drawing winner will win two $10 craft supply gift certificates. And the dollar sweepstakes winners will get to choose from several great prize options, which, Mike, can you show them what we got over there? We got a couple of bowl blanks. We've got okay, this is the t-shirt that my wife bought for me, and it came in as a small and they didn't want to return it. So if you're small, there's a nice t-shirt over there. There's a sanding disc holder that was 3D printed for us. There is a small lamp with movable, it's on a gooseneck. Thank you. And then a couple of ash, right? Ash bowl blanks. Okay. Okay. The rest is minerals. So several good prizes there. See Mike if you want to buy a ticket or two. Oh, and it's still here. I can't believe it, but the multimeter still exists and is still one of our prizes. So you'll have a chance for that. All right. Open shop. I think everybody knows it's available. Everybody in the room here probably knows that it's available every Saturday morning from 8:30 to 12. Sometimes it goes a little bit later than that. Wednesday and Thursday evenings from 6 to 9, with the single exception of the third Wednesday each month, which is the guild's meeting night. So we don't turn on their meeting night. Please help keep the shop clean. Please wear your badge when you're in there, and please sign in at the front door if you can remember to do that. It's just nice to see how many people are using it on what nights and such. There is a doorbell on the back door. If you ever get here for open shop and the front door is locked, go to the back door. If the back door is locked, ring the doorbell and wait a little bit. And if somebody's inside, they'll come out and get you. We can hear it. There's about three ringers back there in our room, so we can hear it even when the lathes are running. Lastly, on the shop, please report any equipment problem to a board member and we'll see what we can do about getting it fixed. Continue to show the bandsaw love by detensioning it after you use it. Even if you're not the last one to use it that day, just every time somebody uses it, if we can detension it, that'll help the tire wear, right? Won't put flat spots in the tire. Anthony Harris, a lot of you are wondering, he's still recovering and unable to attend open shop right now. But we have reached out to the shop openers that have been signed up, and we've been able to cover the Wednesday and Thursday evening open shop. So there shouldn't be any changes there. I want to thank those members that stepped up to fill some of those nights. Appreciate that. And finally, we get into our help wanted. Just want to remember or remind everybody to, when you got a chance, please volunteer some time to benefit the club whenever you can. Please consider helping the club with sponsored activities. It's a great opportunity to meet new people and to talk wood turning. We could use a couple of members to help with setup and sales and/or breakdown of the club tent for the August, September, and October First Fridays events. We set up around 3 p.m. From the shop. It's just down the street, so it's not too much of a drive or anything. The sales go from 4 to 9 p.m. and the breakdown's usually just after 9 p.m. I think Ed and I are going to plan on being there running the tent, but extra hand or two surely would be appreciated. This tent, because of the traffic that we get down there, the tent is great exposure for our club, and we get to talk to a lot of people about potential memberships. So if you'd like your work featured on the KCWT Instagram or Facebook social media pages, please email photos and a description to Phil Sykes. That's at philsykes@gmail.com. I believe that's on our website too, if you need that. Or you can also tag or mention our account, which is at KC_Woodturners. Or invite us to be a collaborator on your post. Now, I'm not a social media person, so I know I couldn't even tell you, Phil, what that means, but if you are on social media, you probably understand that statement. If you have any questions, reach out to Phil. He'll help you get the information to him so that you can get a little exposure out there and give a little exposure for our club. Social media can offer great exposure to our club. So let's see. And finally, on the help wanted, see Mike Thomas. If you have a demonstration to share, know of a demonstrator, or if you have a demonstration you would like to see. I'm not exactly sure our next demonstration scheduled for next month. Do we have that nailed down yet? It was going to be Anthony, but did Don flip into his position? Okay, thank you, Don. So Don will be presenting in August. And what is our presentation on? Oh, okay. So he's going to explain and demo how the core bowls. Oh, okay. Keep working on it. All right.
See this demo, AW, video, keep you here, answer questions, everything. That was.
Oh, that sounds fun. So we're talking about a demonstration where we would watch the video of Phil's demonstration at the AAW symposium and then be able to actually ask the artists. So that'll be great. I think we're also going to try to get Jerry Darter lined up one of these months to do some top turning because we're in desperate need. I don't know if any of you saw the email going out, but we're in desperate need of building our top supplies for our we want them for Santa's workshop. Definitely. We need to be in the range of 500 probably tops for that. And we've got a potential sale in Lawrence in October that Mike Erickson thinks that we might sell as many as 200 tops at that. So we've probably got 200 in a bucket back there, but we could double that amount and be comfortable. So this Saturday, this leads right into our activities and events. July 19th, next Saturday, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And if you want to come earlier and turn earlier, that's no problem. You are invited to the shop to turn tops for Santa's workshop and for future club sales. So basically, we're just going to have a top turning event. Our inventory is low. We could use all the help we can get. Tops are typically our best seller by quantity at any sales event that we have. And we do have blanks back there, so you don't have to provide the blanks. We've got blanks back there in the shop that we'll provide you. So I'd love to see you and come join the fun. I know that we got a couple folks that said they wouldn't be able to be there, but they would be able to provide some tops. So Sign Up Genius, you all might have seen the email come out this week about getting Sign Up Genius is up and ready for the Irish Festival. I'd love to see you consider spending some time at the club tent and selling, turning, or talking. The entry to the event is free for the volunteers, so you get an armband that'll get you in free, and it's always a good time. And I think we got plenty of slots available. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday time slots. Friday, yes, and you can bring and sell your own stuff. We'll track it, and then I think, does the club take a percentage of that then? So 30. Okay. So 30% of anything that you do sell personally will go to the club, and then you'll reap the 70%, and Kevin will get you a check made out. Yeah. Just know that up front. Didn't want anybody to forget that the SWAT Symposium's coming up in August, from the August 22nd to the 24th in Waco, Texas. If you are going, I want you to say hello to our member, Ann Molina. She'll be there. So Mike, you got to tell her I said hi. Oh, best place to keep up with club events is our website, kcwoodturners.org. So if you need to kind of see a schedule, I usually mostly view the left-hand column on the website, and it's got all the upcoming events and a lot of different information, as well as links to a lot of information there. That gets me through that was pretty fast. That gets me through my announcements this week. So I'm going to turn it over to Phil. He's going to give you a safety minute and just a little bit of info on his Phil. Can we go to the next slide, Rob? Presented by a KCWT member and AAW Symposium demonstrator, Phil Sykes. So Phil, I'm going to give you this food.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everybody. I still love that we had the metal lathe up there and a man being mangled by it. So that is my favorite thing, and we should get that on a t-shirt. Just don't put my face on the man stuck in the lathe. So our safety minute for tonight is going to be a quick one, hopefully. I had the opportunity to be a demonstrator at the AAW Symposium a few weeks ago back in June, which was a really great experience. And I'll tell more about that later at Show and Tell. But one of the great things about AAW Symposiums and other symposiums like SWAT and other large events is you get to see some really great demonstrators who are skilled at what they do, knowledgeable about their topics, and hopefully can put on a fun presentation for you. But has anyone heard of YouTube University? Anyone? Has anyone watched YouTube, like a wood turning video, and you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is really great. And then they do something really crazy and you're like, that's not good. Now, when you're a new turner, YouTube University is fantastic and you learn all sorts of things, but there is a high possibility you might learn something terrible at the same time too. So my encouragement as a safety minute for you tonight is to seek out good learning resources, and that can be YouTube. There are plenty of really good professional wood turners who are teaching on YouTube and have tons of videos, and I can't list them all because there's quite a few. And then there's some terrible ones that make really cool things, but they do some of the most dangerous things I've ever seen on a lathe before. Some of them will then post what happens to the lathe or themselves. But if you have any questions about finding good resources for learning, especially on your own at home, if you don't have the opportunity to take a class or go to a demo or a symposium or something like that, there are great video demos, and we'd be happy to, Mike or Chris or Kevin or a lot of people who've been around here for a while might have great wood turners you can look up on YouTube or buy their DVDs or whatever it might be. Which brings me to the next thing. So going to a symposium is a lot of fun. SWAT's coming up, and if you have the opportunity, I recommend you go to SWAT. I've never been, but I hope to go next year. But I did get to go to the AWW Symposium this year as a demonstrator, which was a ton of fun. I did a few rotations and got to meet a lot of people that I know virtually through Instagram and other ways, and got to hang out. Two big things that happened there. One of them, does anyone know who David Ellsworth is? Do you know who David is? You may or may not know, but David passed away on June 16th, which was kind of right at the end of the symposium. He was not with us at the symposium. This is the first one he's ever missed. He is AAW member number 1. But I have a little pamphlet here about a project for David to kind of collect material about his career from various sources and gather that all up so that it's not something that gets lost. So if you want to take a look at this pamphlet, there's a email address, a website on the back here about the Ellsworth Legacy Project. And it's being put on by, I believe his name is Craig Edelbrock. And he's done some other similar projects for other people over the past few years. So I encourage you to check that out. The other thing I brought is the Symposium Event Guide. And please be gentle with this. It's my only copy. But if you look through here, you might find my face or the face of many other demonstrators and other things that went on during the symposium. I'd encourage you to take a look at that if you are interested. And just see what was going on at this year's symposium. It is a lot of fun. And there are so many really great woodturners doing a variety of things. They really try to get a good swath of the wood turning that's out there. They don't try to do just one thing. It's not all very highly detailed carving like we might see tonight. Some of it is very, not user friendly. entry level friendly, and they kind of have the entry level, intermediate, and then advanced topics too. So like I sat in on a bunch of topics from a guy named Alain Millard, and he's from France, and he does phenomenal work. And I just sat there looking at his photos, talking about his, I think, like 40-year career, and was just like stunned at all the stuff that he was kind of showing us. And then you go into another room, and it's like, you know, kind of wood turning 101. So they've got all sorts of stuff, and it's a great opportunity to gather with other wood turners, ask questions live, which is the fun of being a demonstrator live, is that people ask questions and you get to answer them, and it's the thing that they want to learn at that time. So every demo that I've done is always different. I have the same kind of general topics I do, but they end up being very different from demo to demo, just because you have the opportunity to really tailor it to your crowd. You know, when you have 100 or 150 people in the room, it's a little hard to do that, but it's still a lot of fun. So please take a look at these over there. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. But that's all I have for oh no, I've got one more thing about a safety minute. So next time we come, I'm bringing a very special safety minute. I have a new piece of hardware. It's called the Climate Air 3, Microclimate Air 3. And it is a helmet. It looks like a spaceship. If you've seen this, it's very cool. I have one. I've been testing it out. I told them I have a glasses and beard, and they sent me one for free. And I said, that's excellent. Let me test it for you and provide you feedback on it. So I've been testing it out and providing them feedback. And so I'm going to share it with you guys so you can see what it is about and if it's something that you might want to add to your arsenal. And hopefully we can help, you know, make that happen if you need to. But that will be next month's safety minute. So you can upgrade your, you know, a little, you know, COVID face mask to something a little more good for your lungs. It filters the air. It also is a full face shield that is certified for, you know, getting smacked in the face. I forget the actual certification, but this one it looks like a space helmet. It is like a dome, and it's all clear, and so your field of view is fantastic. Not only have I used it for wood turning, I used it breaking out brick at my house the other day around my fireplace, and that was a lot of fun. Very dusty, and I was very comfortable in it. The rest of my body was very hot and sweaty, but my head was very dry and clean, surprisingly. But it's a cool thing. There's a number of them on the market. This one is made by a company in Utah. So I got to talk to them about it. And one of the advantages of going to the symposium is learning about things like this. So I will bring that next month so we can take a look at that. And if you have questions about it, let me know. Oh, and Chris, here you go.
Okay. I think that works pretty good. I was afraid we get feedback. Yeah, high tech, rubber band and the straw to blow the insides out of your bowls are two of my best tools I've got. I've been excited about this demo since I saw Jim bring in his platter and say that he was doing the demo. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time up here because I want Jim to have as much time as he needs to demonstrate. But let's all welcome Jim Garner, our own member, City Woodturners member for a long time. I remember taking a class with you quite a few years ago. So he has found his own way of doing this technique, but he's going to show us how to do a basket weave carving technique on any type wood project.
Yep.
All right, Jim, thank you.
All right, and I apologize for that terrible picture. I apologize for that terrible picture that was up there a moment ago. Kevin said, I need a picture. And so I was like, real fast. Yeah, it wasn't the best. Okay, so I sent over to Kevin a set of instruction. I don't know if I want to call it a set of instructions.
If you've got the film, you don't need this mic, but you need that one.
Okay.
On the other side. Sorry.
No worries. Which we good?
Jim, I'm going to put your instructions live.
Perfect. Hey.
All
Usually I get dinner with that. Okay, can everybody on Zoom hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me on Zoom? Perfect. Okay. So this is I don't know if I call it a technique. It's a thing that I came up with because I like basket weaves. I've done the basket illusion bowls with the grooves and the burning, and I still enjoy those. I love to do that. I think it's really fun. But I did a platter, a big like 14-inch platter, and I was trying to do this initially. That was my goal. And I started trying to do it and I couldn't figure out how to make it happen. So I ended up just burning crosshatch, you know, line. And that turned out really cool and I kind of liked that. And then I thought, I've got to figure out how to do this. So I thought, what does a basket look like? Or what is I always think of like a belt or just something, you know, leather woven thing. And that's where this kind of came from, is me just sort of challenging myself and trying to come up with a way to do this. Many of these that are up here are kind of still works in progress because I get bored, or I think I want to do something else, or I find a piece of an offcut that I don't want to let crack, or mostly it's because I get bored. So I will work on this. So this one is one that I actually did from a couple of months ago. There was some maple cores, silver maple cores, I think. And I thought, I've never done a bowl, so I'll do a bowl, because mostly I've focused on vessels, hollow forms, because you only have to do one side. So a bowl is a little bit more of a challenge, because you kind of have to think about, if the warp goes this way, the weft has to go the other way so that it looks right, because it's really important that it looks right. It looks believable that you wove that. It's not important. You can just, you know, I'm making that up. So the main reason that I came up with this, and I actually did a demo in Topeka on a different topic this weekend, and I said this and they all laughed, but the main reason I came up with this kind of project is I typically like to do bigger things on the lathe, but my wife is a little jealous of the amount of time that I spend in the workshop. So I wanted to come up with something that I could do and spend time with her and watch serial killers getting caught, because there are just too darn many serial killers out there. So in an effort to decrease the number of serial killers that are out there, I came up with something that I can do in my hand and somewhat pay attention to what's going on. So depending on, people always ask me, how long does this take? And it depends on how good the show we're watching is. So anyway, I will stop telling a story about how I came up with this idea and start talking about how to do it. The first thing in my instructions, it says the first step is to turn a hollow form. I like to use little offcuts. Smaller is not always better, but you do get kind of a finer pattern depending on how much you index it. So like this is a piece of white oak. I can remember what this was, that I got, I don't know when I got it. Anyway, and I just turned this the other day and just indexed the lines on it. My lathe has 24 index stops. So this has 24 vertical lines and then as many horizontal lines as it needs. So the really important thing, and I want to say this very clearly right up front, is there is no wrong way to do this. One of the things I think makes them look more real or more authentic, like they're really woven, is that they're not perfect. I love, it was you, like, yeah, I love the CNC ones. That was crazy. That was so cool. But I like these in a different way, in the same way, in a different way, because they look hand woven in my eyes. So you guys, your mileage may vary. You guys decide whether or not you agree with me. But so the first thing that I do is I turn the form. I usually hollow it. It doesn't have to be super thin. It doesn't have to be super thick, because you're not turning the inside. You're not really doing anything with the inside. You really don't even have to worry too much about sanding the inside because you're going to mess up the inside. You're going to drill a bunch of holes. There's going to be tear out. There's going to be, when you're poking holes in it, the inside's not going to be super smooth and nice, which I really like because I hate sanding, especially sanding the inside of a hollow form. That's like, I don't know. That is not something I enjoy doing. So you don't have to turn it very, very thin. It's just kind of how it feels in your hand. It's really the key. I think it might be easier if there is a little bit more weight to it. It kind of keeps it. So if you do something like this, where the warp and weft are a little smaller, if you're super thin, there's not a lot of wood there. So it would be easier to kind of crack the whole thing. That has happened, and what you do when that happens is you throw it away. You put it in the burn pile and you move on. These are just sort of hand projects, just something to do. I also like to put the little caps on it because I think that looks neat. But okay, so you got your hollow form. You have your lines drawn. I'm not gonna. I talked to Mike, as said I wasn't really going to do any turning or doing anything on the lathes because it's a wood turning video or demo. Why would I use a lathe? But because I don't think that's really the important thing. You make the form that you want to make. However many lines you want, you can get an indexer and get a whole bunch of lines like this one, and do something super tiny and however you want, or you can make it bigger. It just really kind of is up to you. The next step is for me, I think it is a lot easier if you take a hole punch and go to the intersection. Yeah. And just pop a little indicator, and that was not on the cross. So that was not great. Okay, that's much better. So, oh, okay, great. I can see up there. I don't have to look behind me. So I'm just going at each intersection and popping a little hole. And the reason that I'm doing that is so that I can, I'm going to use one of these. Easier to get into this box. I can take a brad point drill bit. I find that the brad point really helps because it helps me find my little spot, and I drill holes, lots and lots and lots of holes. What's that? I use a 4mm for the bigger size. So on this particular form right here, I knew that it was going to be a bigger pattern. So the straps, that's what I think of them in my head, are a little bit wider. So I used a 4mm drill bit, and then for the smaller ones that are like up here, so I did two sizes on this one. I'd use a 1/8, and it's just totally your preference. If you don't want to do the open, you don't have to do that. There's no reason why you're required to have an open pattern. I just think it looks neater, and I think it contributes to the back. Yeah, it does. And I've done it without, and I didn't bring that one in because I don't like it. So, but your mileage may vary. Again, I'm going to say that a lot because that's my new term. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what. Yeah. So you've got your lines. Got your hole, the center punch, thank you. And then you got your holes drilled. Then you have to choose the pattern that you want to do. I have come up with 4 different patterns. And Kevin, if you can, I don't know if you can show my instructions. If not, I can kind of show you on this. You can or cannot? You cannot. Okay. So X, there you go. Okay. so the first one that you see there is the sort of standard. This is probably a better one. Just horizontal and vertical. So it's just a really straightforward basket weave. This is I don't think this was not the first one that I did, but it's one of the first ones that I did. And it's super straightforward, super easy. The next one down is a diagonal pattern, and that one is more like this. So this is kind of my new thing. This is one I like a lot. It's a little bit more challenging because when you're laying out your lines on that one, if you go to the overhead. Okay. So if you go to the overhead, when you're laying out your lines for the diagonal pattern, you would do punch one hole here, punch one hole here, punch one hole here. You wouldn't, okay, let me do it this way. You would do punch a hole here, and then here, and then here, and kind of repeat that pattern so that it alternates. And that way you have the ability to draw the lines. And I'll talk about drawing the lines. I find that drawing in lines, the reference lines, the cut lines, is super, super, super helpful and really makes the whole project work. The first few that I did, I didn't do that. I just left these lines on because I'm smart. I know how to do it. I know what I made this whole thing up. I can do it. You absolutely will screw up. Even with the lines, you will screw up, just for the record. So anyway, that's the diamond pattern is a little bit of a challenge. You will also, when you are punching your holes, you will mess up and punch a hole here. Yeah, so you'll punch the hole here, so you'll have 3 in a row, and then you'll have to deal with that. Trust me on this. You don't have to drill it, but you have to deal with it because unfortunately, you end up with it right in the middle of one of the weaves. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to need some help. You guys, the audience participation is welcome. Thank you. Okay, so the other pattern, the third pattern, or there's 3 or 4, I guess technically, is this one right here. And this is a piece of the ash that was here last week, the core of the ash that I'm not sure who it was. Is it you, Don? Don. Thank you. These are super handy. And I decided I would do another bowl, even though I'll talk about why I don't like bowls in a minute. But I thought I'll do something different. So this one, if you can see I think it's the warp is the vertical, and then the weft is the other opposite vertical or non-vertical. That is, it's going up. So it's just a different way of doing it, so that you get a slightly different pattern. This is kind of a cool pattern. You get on the, okay, I don't know where the camera is. Forward. There we go. So you get kind of you get a cool sort of swirly pattern. And I think that would be cool on something like this. Again, I'll talk about why bowls are bad in a minute. Okay, so we've got our holes drilled and we have vertical and horizontal lines. Again, those vertical and horizontal lines are really only there to help you reference the holes. They're not there to help you carve. And the reason for that is that you want to carve on the outside, let me get a pencil, you want to carve on the outside of the holes. So if you draw the pattern in, you get a really easy, this is less than carving 101. This is remedial carving. This is it's almost not carving because you're really doing, it's chip carving, but you're doing the same thing, lather, rinse, repeat. It is non-technical. It's about as non-technical as you can get. There's a lot of steps, and I'm going to say and then a lot. So you guys can, audience, participate if you'd like. And then. So the first thing that I do is, and it doesn't really matter where you start. You can start in the middle, you can start over here, but once you've started, you kind of have to pay attention. You have to kind of go from there. You can go all the way around in one row or around, but you have to kind of keep it up because otherwise your crosshatch won't match. You'll end up not matching. So because I've already started here and I wanted to kind of draw the lines. Can you guys see the lines? Okay. This is a piece of when I bought it on, I think eBay for it's ambrosia maple, but I didn't really care that much for the figure. It wasn't as. I thought, you know what, I'm going to dress this up a little bit. So I thought I would carve it a little bit. But so I come in and so I'm on the outside of this one. So I'm going to be on the outside of this one. And then that means that this one is the inside. Does that make sense? And then same thing over here, because I was on the outside of this. A lot of times I will kind of go in a row and follow it down. That's actually really easy because you go, if I'm on outside, inside, I think of it outside, inside. I know that that doesn't necessarily mean anything to anybody because it's only from my perspective. But you could go left, right. So I'm on the left side of this one, right side of this one, left side of this one, right side of this one, left side of this one, right side of this one, and it will follow itself around. And then same thing over here. I'm on the right side or left side, right side, left side, right side, and then thank you. You do that some more. So a lot more. So the next thing is you go, so this is on the outside. I go on the outside of this one. Now this is the inside, so I go on the inside of this one. Outside of that one or inside of this one, depending on your perspective. Again, I don't know why I think of it outside, inside, but that's just kind of how it makes sense in my head. And you can see that you've got the pattern kind of coming along. I need to stop pointing with that finger. So, yeah, please. Not really. So if you just kind of, you stop it where you want. Sometimes I will stop them so that there's a little bit of a foot or a bottom, and then yeah. Okay, this one, yeah, this one I just carried it all the way down so that the bottom has, and I've never thought about, and I refuse to think about trying to do it on the bottom and trying to come up with something because I got to have my little laser thing. So, yeah. No, I do. So this one is, yeah, this one is quite a bit smaller. It's there are more lines on this one than 24. So it just depends on what you want. You make you do exactly. Yeah. So whichever way you want. Go ahead. They all divide into 360 because it's a circle. So yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, as long as it fits into a circle, it's good. So you could do 15 degrees, for example. I don't know what that works out to. I think probably everything is even. Yes, sir.
Smaller bit. Because you're coming in
Yes.
Small one. You're drilling the same hole, but if you look at the spaces, it's smaller, and I think you said a 4 millimeter.
It's 4 millimeter out here
Yeah.
and 3 or 1/8 in here. So it is smaller, but and I don't typically do that because I'm doing hollow forms or like vases. So there's not that much difference. This one is the first one I've done of a bigger hollow form. So that's a great idea. I mean, at some point you run out of little tiny bits though, so it does kind of become a bit of an issue because there's a step later on where and then to get this to finish up, but we'll come to that. So we're killing serial killers, or we're not killing them, we're capturing them, the serial killers. So here we go, and then we stop and we fast forward through the commercials, and then we keep going. So this really is sort of something that you can do. The nice thing is that once you get the lines drawn, there's not you can start anywhere. You can if you get tired of doing the diagonal pattern, you can do the vertical pattern that I have up here. I wanted to do kind of a contrast on this one with the pencil. Yeah, except for, I use the indexer for this. I have, so on my basket weave, I have a little platform. Fair point. That's a great idea. That's a great point. On my lathe, there's a little pin that drops down, and there's a wheel that has 24 stops. And each of those, so I have, this is on the lathe. I have a little platform that's right at midpoint. So I take my pencil and I draw a line, and then I advance the lathe to the next pin so that I have equal lines. You can do it by hand. No, it wasn't this one. I have done them by hand and just drawn the lines, just found a straight edge and done it vertically. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Right at center, but it's not quite at center height. It's a little bit below center height, so that the pencil. So if I'm using this type of pencil, I keep it. Yeah, it'd be right at center height. It doesn't matter. This one I actually did as part of a demo in Topeka, I think, and it's a little bit. If you can see the can't find the top. There we go. No, back. There we go. I'm sorry. Shut up, smart guys. You can tell it's a little bit off because my platform was not quite on center, so my lines are a little bit off. But exactly right. There you go. He's got it. So the whole idea is that these aren't perfect. So get perfection out of your mind. And just give yourself the freedom to kind of do whatever you want to do. I think that makes me feel better. I can tell myself anyway that, that it's nice. One thing I forgot to mention, these little center punches are sometimes a little aggressive, and you can end up with a hole bigger than you want. So I also have this one, which is just a little pokey. So just depending on.
And all.
Yeah. It's the Amazon brand. And this one is the Temu brand. And this one is the I don't remember brand. It just, I honestly, I think I got this for free and some other something or other. So it just kind of showed up. At least that's what I told my wife. That's coming. Yes. Yeah. Because it doesn't look right if you don't. Yeah. Okay. So we've drawn our lines. And on this one, I was obviously I drilled the holes in the kind of offset pattern. So I had the diagonal around the outside, and then on the rim, like I said, I wanted to do something different just to make it look different. I don't know if this looks good or not. I haven't really decided, but I did the regular kind of just crosshatch. Damn it! There we go. Just the regular vertical and horizontal.
Make it look like the one is laying on top of the other, because otherwise,
Which where are you talking about? Up here? It is, yes. So I've got a little bit of a ridge here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that was the idea. And the way that I've kind of done these first few here, well, the way that I'm going to do the whole thing is that this row right here that's coming up is kind of going into this. So it's kind of woven in. So maybe this is wicker because it's light. It's not leather, unless you got a really white cow. It kind of, this is thicker. This part right here is thicker. It actually is a little thicker. I didn't do a great job on hollowing this particular piece of maple. But anyway, does that make sense? Okay. So who wants to carve? So the main tool that I use for carving these is this little, it's from Woodcraft. It's file, I think is how you say it. Fail. P-F-E-I-L. You can also use the flex cut tools from Woodcraft or Rockler. I think Woodcraft also sells these, but I think they sell both. But Rockler, I think, only has the flex cut. These are fine. They're a little thin. They don't hold their edge as long. I'm not as big a fan. But they're great and they will work. An X-Acto knife in something soft like this ambrosia, just basically anything. I mean, you could use a pocket knife. This is not technical carving. You don't have to have special tools for this. But I did go out and buy this. This just happens to be an 8mm flat skew. I've used this thing to death. I use it all the time. It fits great in your hand. It's super easy to manipulate. It's comfortable, and it holds an edge really, really well. The other thing that you do need to have, so you need some sort of carving implement, and you need to have some way to sharpen that carving implement, because if you don't, you will cut yourself. You will absolutely, especially if you're sitting and watching TV and you're carving in your hand, I promise you that you will push too hard because the tool gets dull and it will jump out and it will stab you in the hand. At least that's what I've learned. I don't tell Phil. I don't. Yeah. I should. I don't. Mostly because I always forget to put the glove on, not because I think it's a bad idea. I encourage you to wear a glove and be safe and not poke yourself in the finger. I managed to, on a different type of project, I don't know if you guys seen Jackson's Timber on Instagram. He does little spiky bowl kind of things. They're really cool. I've started doing those. They're really fun, but they have a lot of kind of deep carving, and I was pushing in a piece of oak. I don't know why I carve oak. It's just really hard. And I cut myself just like, I poked right here in my finger, and that was a couple of months ago, and I still have a little bit of numbness in my fingertips. So yes, I am. And that day I was absolutely donating some blood. So yeah, wearing a glove is probably smart. Also, just paying attention to what you're doing and not trying to. You absolutely can. And you can, I apparently can't because I'm not smart enough to remember to do it. And that literally is honestly why. You had a question, I'm sorry. Fair point. So, but yeah, this little guy right here is called a slip strop. You can get this. This is great for kind of sharpening all different kinds of different gouges. They also sell one that's a little bit longer. It's just a piece of leather mounted on a block of wood, and it has this stuff, which is a polishing compound. It's got a little bit of grit to it, and it does a fantastic job of putting an edge on or back onto these
It's
tools.
drops it,
Basically any of them up to and including like this guy here, which we'll use in a little while. It's super handy and an absolute necessity in my mind. It really depends on the wood. Oh, more than once a wood, but it depends on the wood. So if you're carving oak or ash, something really hard, it dulls the edge. Some of the things that you do dull the edge too. So great segue. So I'm just going to start wherever. I'm going to start right here. What I usually do is you don't have to do this, but I usually kind of come in and I make myself a little bit of a line so that I have a kind of a stop to carve to, and then I come and I carve. Now this is super soft maple, so it's really easy. And then if you are good at it, you get these nice little chips. And if you're sitting watching serial killers getting caught, you leave that on your belly, and then when you go to the bathroom, you lift your little skirt up and you go outside and you dump your chips so that your wife doesn't yell at you. So that is my strategy, is to use what God gave me. What's that? My turning muscle, exactly. So okay, here it is. There's the little cut that I made, and you can make it as deep as you want, as deep as it makes sense to go on your particular piece of wood. So if you've turned it really thin, you don't have a lot of room to do that. If you've given yourself some room, you can make them deeper, and it kind of makes the pattern really kind of jump out. Totally up to you. There are some kind of downsides to that, making them deep, because then you do, unfortunately, there is still sanding. I can't come up with a way to do this without needing to sand it at the end, but you do have to do that. A lot of times what I will do is I will make these kind of push or plunge cuts. I'll do a lot of those at once, and then sharpen, and because that does kind of dull the edge, just kind of going straight into the wood. Now with this wood, not as much, because this is really soft. With ash or oak, you absolutely have to strop it more frequently. Absolutely. I haven't ground this ever. I mean, you're not, keep in mind, you're not, I mean, it's not rotating. You're not really kind of going against the grain in a way that makes it, and you can, I mean, it's, I don't know if it's razor sharp, but it's pretty sharp, and it definitely cuts really well. These file tools are absolutely fantastic. The flex cut, I feel like I have to sharpen that a lot more frequently, just because I mean, you can, I don't know if I'm showing anything. The difference in the tools is just really kind of remarkable in terms of this is a beefy, even for being such a small tool, it's got some heft. Thank you. That's the word I was trying. Yeah. Okay. And this one is, and there's nothing wrong. Flex cut makes a great tool. This is not, I'm not being paid by anybody, but I just, and this is what I started with, but this just makes a lot of difference. So back to, so I've cut myself a little stopper here, and I just kind of go in, and this is weird doing it this way. I'm used to doing this. It's also this is a little bit of a challenge because these are bigger straps. So you can't make, so on something like this, where the holes or the distance between the holes is about the size of the tool, it's a lot easier to make these cuts because you're just making really kind of one cut and then one cut. For this, the straps are a little wider, so you're having to kind of do a little bit more. The other thing is you kind of have to make sure that your cuts are even and you kind of clean them up so that there aren't ridges. That's you can see that in some of these. Okay, so I'll do a few more of these. Does anybody ask questions while? Absolutely. That I actually prefer this. This is much better. So I'm going to make my. We don't just watch serial killer shows, just for the record. I want that. I mean, we watch, news and stuff too.
That's funny.
It's FBI. That's a good one. Criminal Minds is it's all the shows. We watch all of it. Yes. So let me get to. What's that? Oh, well, not, yeah. I wish you could do sanding, like put it back on the lathe and sand. Yes, that would ruin it. So let me get one little square kind of all the way done here.
Have you ever done it where you don't drill the holes all the way, but it's like kind of like you're imitating like a tighter fit where you like not see the hole, like for example, like a bullwhip handle?
I have, and I didn't think it looked very good. So I didn't drill the holes at all on that one. I just did the like the punch, and I didn't think it looked very good. Now that's probably because it was one of the first ones I did. So your mileage may vary. You feel free to experiment. I will not make this the challenge for next month. This I think it might be. These are time intensive, but they're not super labor intensive because again, you're just going to do this little action that I've done here. I've made 4 cuts here in what, 2 minutes, less than that. You're just going to do that a lot. Yes. Yes. I do. So we're coming to that. That's it. So to answer your question about sanding, a lot of times what I'll do is, so I've got this one and it's got very sharp, well, not very sharp. It's got sharp edges on where I've done the cuts. So the cuts are basically what I'm going for is about the diameter, or so my cut is about as wide as the diameter of the hole, if that makes any sense. So the holes are 4 millimeters. The distance between the edge of the cut and the top of the cut is about 4 millimeters, because that I think it makes it look real. And then what I will then do is come back and sort of shade that down with the edge to blend it in. And that makes sanding a lot easier if you can do that. You can also take the side of the tool and just kind of use it like a card scraper and scrape that edge down so that it kind of softens it a little bit. Yeah. This right here, I don't know how old it was when you brought the cores in. Same for the ash. But yeah, I did it just, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like this maple is super, I mean, this is dry. I've had it for more than a year, and you can see it's got some cracks in the side, but I think those add character. That's actually part of why I decided to carve this one, just to kind of hide those a little bit. So does that answer your question? Yeah, so. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I do that really often. And again, that's why I have so many that are sort of in flux, because again, I decided, you know, I wanted to do this one for the demo because I thought having a bigger piece would make it easier for you guys to see. But, you know, and you guys were all excited about the bowl. The reason that, and I said I would talk about it, the reason that I don't like bowls is you have to do two sides. So that's annoying. So you have to really, you only have to think about it once, but you really do have to kind of consider. So if, for example, if this particular strap goes in right here, you have to make sure that the other side, that it kind of folds in a corresponding way. Otherwise it wouldn't look right. It really wouldn't. So it's really easy to see on the horizontal pieces that, so this one on the back pumps this way, and then on the opposite side, you don't see that particular horizontal strap because it's the one that's hidden by the vertical strap. So you kind of have to pay attention to that. Again, you only have to do that once. And the reason I say that is once you've set your pattern, it literally, if you keep doing the same stuff all the way around, you can't mess it up because it just fixes itself. But the hard part about a bowl is these right here. Yep. The ones that are going up, because the tool, you don't have room to get the tool in. And that is really annoying. Yeah, it's just hard. I tried to use a Dremel, tried to find a bit that I could use that would do it. Several people have asked about whether I do power carving on it. I've tried, and I don't see it doesn't, I don't think first of all, it's stressful. Second of all, I can't do it while I'm watching shows because, I mean, this is bad enough. I'm leaving chips all over the floor or on my belly. So yeah, trying to use a Dremel while we're watching serial killers. I put down a shirt underneath my, no. I just use the vacuum cleaner. I am in charge of the vacuum, so yeah, exactly. Not every day, but I do. Yeah, I'm. That becomes my job. My job became vacuum. I'm honestly too. I'm not gonna lie. I think she's just given up. I've just beat her into submission. That's yeah, because otherwise I'd be outside and she'd be watching the Kardashians or some nonsense. So I'm saving the world from Kardashians. You're welcome. Okay, so that's, you know, kind of get it to where it looks about as good as it can. I try to start with, I like to just go straight to 240, and then that's where I stop. I'm not trying to sand these to 600. I'm not looking for a glossy finish. I don't think that makes any sense. These are supposed to be leather or wicker, and wicker's not shiny. So at least not my wicker. So I don't feel like it's necessary. You do you. If you want to sand up to 600 and get really crazy with this, you certainly can. The main tool that I use for sanding is this guy right here. It's from a company called Micromark. It has obviously this little, it's about, I think it's 1 centimeter square, little tip at the top. They sell with this, and they'd be happy for you to buy their little adhesive backed sandpaper for like $6 for 15 little squares, something like that, plus shipping. I mean, it's crazy. Or you can go on Amazon and buy, I think it's 20 meters, that is like, it's probably 15 centimeters across, maybe not 15 centimeters, 10 centimeters wide by 20 meters long, and you can cut little squares. Yeah. And you just cut little squares, stick it on, and well, this particular piece, if you want to come up and look at it, has been used pretty hard. They don't last very long, especially on harder woods. They get clogged up really fast, but they're also, I mean, negligible. I think a 20-meter roll or 20-meter roll is like $15, something like that, and it will last. I think I've used 3 feet, maybe a meter of it, if that, and that's, I probably lost several of these little baggies so I bought my own pair of scissors. I do not use anyone else's scissors. These are mine. So I cut sandpaper with them because Lord help me if I used hers to do that. Sorry, my wife is a wonderful woman. She is not mean at all. Has not a mean bone in her body, but I also don't cut sandpaper with her scissors because I'm not an idiot. So this guy right here just fits. You just kind of. What's that? Yeah, exactly. You kind of could. I don't necessarily recommend that. Yeah, depending on it, like, so some of them, the ash is really hard and a little more difficult to. So I started with 120 on this, and I'm just going to do 120 and 240. That's all I have to say about that. So the last task of, how am I doing on time? Am I going too short, too long? Okay. The last task is, several people have asked about it, is what do you do with the holes at the end? And what I do is I square them up. So I have several different chisels that I've bought that sometimes they fit in the hole, which is nice. But then I also have this little guy. This little thing right here is absolutely fantastic. I got it for $9 on Temu, whatever. It takes about 3 weeks to get here because it's coming from China. And at the moment, there are no tariffs. So at least not on these. So somehow they've figured out a way. This is a non-tariffable product for some reason. I don't know why, but in any case, I bought this long before the tariffs came around. But this little guy is super handy because it will get into any of the holes and is very handy to just kind of go in and kind of clean up the holes. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about the inside. If it's not perfectly square on the inside, if somebody wants to look and see, well, those are still round. I don't care. You don't need to do that. It's a little bit more challenging on a bowl because you do have to make sure. The more cockeyed you do this one with the weird swirly pattern is a bit of a challenge just because you're not squaring up the holes. You're diamonding up the holes. These are actually easier where the diamond pattern is actually easier. This is a little harder because it's not quite a diamond. It's sort of a parallelogram. Which I know a diamond is a parallelogram. Shut up, Matt. I knew you were thinking it. Yeah. It's a rhombus. I don't know. I don't know what shape it is, but it's a little. It's not quite symmetrical. So it's you do kind of, or I do have to kind of fiddle with it a little bit, and you just sort of come in and make your whole square. If in softer woods, sometimes you can kind of shove it in and wiggle it back and forth, and it kind of looks square. So that it doesn't always work, doesn't even always work in softer woods. And I suspect in some cases that I'll come back and look at it later on and it's no longer square. Yeah, that it kind of, but I fool myself into believing that that works sometimes. It is, yes. So it's like a little tiny skew. It's just got one edge or one bevel, whereas this one has two. The flex cut also just has one bevel. Again, I don't know if that's part of why I don't like it as much, but this one is my fave. I have this one, which is also well, this is a shaft, but I have a similar one from File, and these are handy. A lot of times what I'll do is, I know I said that when you're making the vertical cuts, I'll use this to make the vertical cuts. It's a little heavier, and I can just kind of, especially in harder woods, kind of make that plunge cut like that, and then come back with the smaller tool to do the finer work. It saves the edge on this one a little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah, handheld. I can't even begin to imagine this would, the setup time would be, I mean, it would take, because I mean, obviously on something like this, well, first of all, this is kind of roundy on the bottom because it's a work in progress, and I usually start between centers, so my bottoms are never flat until I flatten them. But yeah, this would be on a drill press. This would take forever just to set up, because you'd have to, yeah, that would, I can't even begin. That would just be, that would take forever. I wish I could, but if somebody's got a jig that would do that, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'm doing the holes are drilled on the crosshatch, and then I take my fancy pink eraser and I erase all the lines, and then I come back and draw, and after I've drilled the holes, then I come back and draw the reference lines, the carving lines. I forgot to mention that. Thank you. And you don't have to have a pink eraser, but it's harder to lose, which yeah, exactly. Yeah, typically. They do a little bit, but by the time they've worn off, you kind of know where you're going, and it's real easy. They're hand drawn, the lines drawn. It's a straight line. It's not drawing. There's no art to this. It's just and if they're off, what's that? It's connecting the dots, except you're doing the outside of the dot instead. Yeah. Look at this guy. Got parallelogram and tangents. It's a lot of smart folks over here. So if if the lines don't look right, a lot of times I'll get going fast, and they're just there for reference. So this one is a perfect example. It's not a very good line. So you guys can't see it because I'm okay. Yeah, you can't see it because the overhead's not on. But okay, yeah. So this is a terrible line. It's big and thick and not very good. But when I come in here and I connect the dot with my vertical line, it doesn't matter that my reference line is not very good, because I'm going to cut my reference line away, and I'm using my left hand, so this is probably going to go bad. Oh, no, I didn't. So I'm just going to make my little cut here and come back and what's that? Again, this is, oh yeah. And this, I've been doing a bunch of plunge cuts too, but it really is made easier if you use wood that is super hard. The elm would be really hard. The ash is really challenging to do. Oak is surprisingly easy to carve. So yeah, even though it's a very hard wood, for whatever reason, it's fairly easy. No, it really is. It's pretty easy. Maples is definitely the easiest. Box elder is super stringy, and is actually very ratty. It's actually hard to get a really clean cut, especially after you've drilled the holes, because the holes definitely tear out on the inside. And box elder is just a gigantic pain. I love it, but anyway. Yeah. I don't care for it because it's really, really easy with a carbide burr to just, if you get to go past, to go too deep, to round it off. I mean, it's just, you have a lot less control than, yeah. So, yeah, and it really does. It really does. She also doesn't like this, just in case you're wondering. This is also interrupting of the, yeah. No, I have to fast forward these because I have to run the remote. Not because I choose, it's her choice. That is her, she wants that. It's for the ladies. I'm not, I'm trying to be sexist. That's her choice. All right. What other questions do you guys have? My favorite wood to carve is this ambrosia maple. This has been, and I haven't carved very much of it, so I may change my mind. But it is super easy to cut, and I can get almost a good enough finish that I'd be happy with it, with just kind of scraping it and rolling over the edges. None of these have been sanded, so and I feel like they're close. So. I have used a bunch of different finishes on some of these. I think a couple of people pointed out I used it's called tongue wax, and it's a beeswax and tongue oil mix, and that worked pretty well. But it does get a little gummy in the middle if you're not careful. And I actually a couple of people found a couple of little holes where it was filled with wax. So I would do. I've done shine juice on a couple of them, and that works well. The only problem with anything that needs to be buffed is a bit of a challenge because whatever you're using to buff is going to get in the lines. You get fur in there, and that's a pain in the posterior to get the little hairs out. You definitely can tell, yes, and it is you can definitely. Can't find one. Oh, this one was really good. Where it's darker, and I guess the heartwood, it's definitely harder. You can absolutely tell, and then where you get really out on the softer grain on the outside, it's for sure a lot easier to carve.
Yeah, that you made it more consistent, you make that
Yeah. And it's pretty easy to kind of come up because normally what I'm doing, again, it's much easier if I do it like this. I'm coming in and I make this little plunge cut. And I'm going about the same distance each time. And then when you come over here and do your cut and then just pop out that little chip, and if you're smart, you just put it down in the middle and you can dump that out later on. You can kind of tell if this side is a little bit too deep versus this side. You can come back, and it doesn't have to be consistent all the way across. It really is just, it needs to be kind of consistent in this region, because by the time your eye gets around to the other side of it, you don't see it. I guarantee you that there's a variation on this piece between the depth of cut, a pretty big variation. So yes. This is relief carving. I mean, that's all it is. It's not, it's a bas relief. I don't know if you say the bas, if you say, or it's bas relief. Basically, it's a bas relief is a carving that usually it used to be on marble, where there was a flat piece of marble, and they would carve it so that it looked like 3D. So you carve away so that it looks 3D. That's all this is. That's all this is. It's just, you know, I drill the holes because I think it makes it look better. But yeah, for sure. All right. Oh, I'm always thinking about the next project I'm going to do. I really like this one. I think doing stuff like this a little bit bigger. I think it looks cool. My favorite one up until I started this one was this, and I know that the weave is very small. This one was a lot of fun to do because like this one, the weave is inconsistent. I'm trying to find the right word, sorry. Because as you go around the outside, it gets bigger. And that's mostly because of the way that I drew the lines. This, I think, because it's going to be on the diagonal, it won't be as noticeable, and it's already kind of bigger. This one was cool because it's pretty, the diameter of the piece it's pretty cylindrical. I mean, I know it's a little bit bigger up here. So each of the straps are pretty consistent. So and I kind of like that look. I've never tried this. Yeah, I bet that would be cool. Kind of do that. Huh? Yeah.
And obviously these guys, you know, the wood grain colors speaking, that's like for something that's kind of more plain. Like, have you ever thought about dyeing or painting kind of some of the?
I have, and I have a tool, or a tool. I have a burn pin. You've seen that where you kind of, it's like a marker, and you pin it, and then you heat gun, and it burns it. I have thought about that. I've actually have thought about doing it on this one. I just haven't done it yet. That's a great idea, though. I like that idea. I've also thought about with my wood burning pin. Thank you, Matt. Matt sold me his old one. I've thought about either kind of, I've seen people put like a little line in the middle just to kind of, yeah, or even kind of coming around and just right in the crease of each piece just to kind of make more of a shadow. So there's lots more stuff to do. Ooh, no, I have not thought of that. That's actually a really good idea. I like that. I like that idea. Just kind of carve or turn a circle, cut it in half, and this guy's I like that idea. I am gonna. Oh, the question was, or the comment, the suggestion was to kind of make a handle and glue it on so that it looks really like a basket. And you could do that with something like this too. So what I thought was turn a circle like a little, I call it torus, but a very small one. And it wouldn't even have to be a fully torused, but and then cut it in half and glue the half, and then you have two of them. Yeah, yeah, that's, yeah, yeah, that's a neat idea. I like that. Yeah. Oh. There's a lot of different ways to go with this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I haven't done that, not because I don't think it's a good idea. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've thought about that. That's a great idea. I like that. And this was not intentionally, I didn't start out, this one was intended to be vertical and horizontal, and I'm not sure how I managed to do it, but it's sort of, happy accident. I absolutely believe in the Bob Ross School of Art. There, he's my hero. But this is definitely, that's how I came up with the diagonal. And I fought this one. I think was my original thought was I was going to do it in the diagonal pattern on the bowl, but I couldn't make it work because if the holes are side by side, you can't turn it in a diagonal because you end up crossing. So you have to do you have to give yourself some room to make the diamond shape. So you have to turn the pattern on a 45 degrees on an angle, I guess. That's all I got. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Carve something. Just, it doesn't matter. Just carve something. You don't have to do one of these. Nobody is required to do one of these. I wouldn't put that on anybody. I am a glutton for punishment. So, like I said, I like to use the basket illusions and that sort of thing. And those are a lot of squiggly.
Bald eagles in flight are always a good carving. So, start big. Aim high. Thank you very much, Jim. That was interesting. And I think you could tell it sparked a lot of thought in people. So appreciate that. Why don't we take a 10-minute break and have some refreshments, and then we'll come back to our challenge table and then our show and tell.